Warm greetings. This is NareshKumar, Assistant Professor, Bharat Institute of Law, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Sociology is the one of the subject of law. Today I am going to talk about casteism. What is casteism and its origin, futures and problems is very important in India. The caste system is one of the unique features in Indian society. Its root can be traced back to thousands of years. Jana, Jati, caste. The word caste derives from the Spanish and Portuguese casta, means race, lineage, or breed. Portuguese employed casta in the modern sense when they applied it to hereditary Indian social groups called as jati in India. Jati originates from the root word jana, which implies taking birth. Thus, caste is concerned with birth. According to Anderson and Parker, caste is that extreme form of social class organization in which the position of individual in the status hierarchy is determined by descent and birth. Based on the birth and descent, caste system is considered in India. How did caste system originate in India? Various theories are involving and talks about caste system. There are many theories like traditional, racial, political, occupational, evolutionary, etc., which try to explain the caste system in India. Traditional theory. According to this theory, the caste system is of divine origin. It says the four caste system is an extension of the Varna system, where the four Varnas originated from the body of Brahma. At the top of the hierarchy were the Brahmins who were mainly teachers and intellectuals and came from Brahma's head. Kshatriyas, or the warriors and rulers, came from his arms. Vaishyas or the traders were created from his ties. At the bottom were the Sudras, who came from Brahma's feet. Here is clearly tells about the four Varnas, teachers and intellectuals, and came from Brahma's head. Kshatriyas, or the warriors and rulers, came from his arms. Vaishyas, or the traders, were created from his ties. At the bottom were the Sutras, who came from Brahma's feet. The mouth signifies its use for preaching, learning, etc. The arms, protections, ties to cultivate or business. Feet helps the whole body. So the duty of the sutras is to serve all the others. The subcaste emerged later due to intermarrying between the four varnas. The proponents of this theory cite Purusha Sukta and Rigveda mentioned, etc. to support their stand. Racial theory. The Sanskrit word for caste is varna, which means color. The caste stratification of the Indian society had its origin in the Saturvarna system. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. Indian sociologist D.N. Majumdar writes in his book Race and Culture in India, the caste system took its birth after the arrival of Aryans in India. Racial theory basically talks about the colors, the caste stratifications. Rigvedic literature stresses very significantly the differences between the Arya and non-Aryan called Dasa, not only in their complexion but also in their speech, religious practices, and physical features. The Varna system prevalent during the Vedic period was mainly based on division of labor and occupation. The three classes, Brahma, Kshatriya, and Vis, are frequently mentioned in the Rig Veda. Brahma and Kshatriya represent the poet praise and the warrior of chief. This covers all the common people. The name of the first class, the Sutra, occurs only one in the Rig Veda. This will represent domestic servant. That's the domestic servant. They are all. Political theory. According to this theory, the caste system is a clever device invented by the Brahmins in order to place themselves on the highest ladder of social hierarchy. Dr. Gurye states caste is a Brahminic child of Indo-Aryan culture, cradled in the land of the Gangs and then transferred to other parts of India. He clearly talks about the Indo-Aryan culture cradled in the land of the Gangs and then transferred to the parts of India. The Brahmins even added the concept of spiritual merit of the king through the priest or purohit in order to get the support of the rural ruler of the land. Occupational theory. Caste hierarchy is according to the occupation. Those professions which were regarded as better and respectable made the persons who performed them superior to those who were engaged in dirty professions. According to Newfield, functions alone is responsible for the origin of caste structure in India. With functional differentiation, there came in occupational differentiation and numerous subcastes such as lohar, blacksmith, summer, tanner, tele, oil pressers. Based on the based on the occupation, caste is also derived. Caste is also allocated. So this theory is basically based on the occupation caste also called for each person. Evaluation theory. According to this theory, the caste system did not come into existence all of a sudden or at a particular date. It is the result of a long process of social evolution. Hereditary occupations, the desire of the Brahmins to keep themselves pure, the lack of rigid unitary control of the state, the unwillingness of rulers to enforce a uniform standard of law and custom. So here is clearly talk about the evaluation theory, the hereditary of occupation and purity and rigid unitary control of the state and uniform standard. The karma and dharma doctrines also explain the origin of caste system, whereas the karma doctrine holds the view that a man is born in a particular caste because of the result of his action in the previous incarnation. The doctrine of Dharma explains that the man who accepts the caste system and the principle of the caste to which he belongs is living according to Dharma. Confirmation to one's Dharma also remits to one's birth in the rich high caste. Violation gives birth in a lower and poor caste. Based on the birth, based on the place, based on the color, the caste is allocated, considered. So in this evolutionary theory, hereditary occupations and purity, unitary control, and standard uniform of law and custom is considered, and also karma and dharma based on the birth and place of the birth. I- Ideas of exclusive family, ancestor worship, and the sacramental myth clash of androgynistic cultures, particularly of the patriarchal and the matriarchal system, clash of races, color prejudices, and conquest, deliberate economic and administrative policies followed by various conquerors, geographical isolation of the Indian peninsula, foreign invasions, rural social structure. It's all come under the evaluation theory based on the hierarchy and family and ruling party, administrative policies, race, color prejudices, conquest, economic and foreign invasion, geographical isolation, rural social structure is on the evolution theory. Here we are giving three nodes. It's clearly tell about the caste. One, it is from the post-Vedic period. The whole the distinctions of Arya and Sudra appears as Divija and Sudra. The first three classes are called Divija, twice born, its meaning, because they have to go through the initiation ceremony, which is symbolic of rebirth. The Sudra was called Gajati. Note 2. Caste system developed on rigid lines post-Mauryan period, especially after the establishment of Sunga dynasty by Pushyamitra Sunga 184 BC. The dynasty was an ardent patron of Brahminism. Through Manusmriti, Brahmins once again succeeded in organizing the supremacy and imposed severe restrictions on the Sudras. Manusmriti mentioned that the Sudra who insult a twice born man shall have his tongue cut out. So, based on the Manusmriti, mentioned that the Sudras who insult a twice born man shall have his tongue cut off. So, note 3. Chinese scholar Wan Sang, who visited India in 630 AD, writes that Brahminism dominated the country, caste ruled the social structure, and the person following unclean occupations like butchers, scavengers had to live outside the city. It is clearly tell about the caste. Understand, Chinese scholar, right about that. He wrote, Brahminism dominated the country, caste ruled the social structure, and the persons following unclean occupations like butchers, scavengers had to live outside the city. Principal features of caste system in India. Segmental division of society. The society is divided into various small social groups called castes. Each of these castes is a well-developed social groups, the membership of which is determined by the consideration of birth. Hierarchy. According to Louis Drummond, castes teach as a fundamental social principle of hierarchy. At the top of his hierarchy is the Brahmin caste, and at the bottom of is the untouchable caste. In between are the intermediate caste. the relative position of which are not always clear. First one says about the segmental division of society. So all society is divided into various small groups called caste. The second one is called about the hierarchy method. According to Louis Dumas, caste teaches a fundamental social principle of hierarchy. At the top of his hierarchy is the Brahmins. Brahmin caste is the top of the hierarchy. At the bottom of it is the untouchable caste. In between are the intermediate caste, the relative position of which are not always clear. Principal feature of caste in India, endogamy. Endogamy is the chief characteristic of caste. Endogamy. The members of a caste or subcaste should marry within their own caste or subcaste. The violation of the rule of endogamy would mean ostracism and loss of caste. However, hypergamy, it means the practices of women marrying someone who is wealthier or of higher caste or social status, and hypogamy means marriage with a person of lower social status were also prevalent, and Gotra exogamy is also maintained in with each caste. Every caste is subdivided into different small units of the basis of Gotra. The members of one Gotra are believed to be successors of a common ancestor, hence prohibition of marriage within the same Gotra. It's called about the Gotra. Hereditary status and occupation. Megasthenes, the Greek traveler to India in 300 BC, 300 BC, mentions hereditary occupation as one of the two features of caste system, the other being endogamy. Hereditary is very important. Hereditary is two features of caste system, the other being endogamy. Restriction on food and drink. Usually, a caste would not accept cooked food from any other caste that stands lower than itself in the social scale due to the notions of getting polluted. There were also variously associated taboos related to food. The cooking taboo, which defines the person who may cook the food. The eating taboo, which may lay down the ritual to be followed at meals. The commercial taboo, which is concerned with the persons with whom one may take food. Finally, the taboo, which has to do with the nature of the vessel, whether made of earth, copper, or brass. That one many use of drinking or cooking. For example, in North India, Brahmin would accept pakka food cooked in ghee only from some caste lower than his own. However, no individual would accept kachaw cooked in water, food prepared by an inferior caste. Food prepared by Brahmins is acceptable to all. The reason which domination of Brahmins in the hotel industry for all the time. The beef was not allowed by any caste except Harijans. A particular name. Every caste has particular name, though which we can identify it. Sometimes an occupation is also associated with a particular caste. The concept of purity and pollution. The higher caste claimed to have ritual, spiritual, and racial purity, which they mainly by keeping the lower caste away through the notion of pollution. The idea of pollution means a touch of lower caste man would pollute or defile a man of higher caste, even his shadow is considered enough to pollute a higher caste man. Jati Panchayat. The status of each caste is carefully protected, not only by caste laws but also by the convention. These are openly enforced by the community through a governing body or board called Jati Panchayat. These panchayats in different regions and castes are named in a particular fashion such as Guldria in Madhya Pradesh and Jogila in South Rajasthan. Varna and caste. What are the difference between the Varna and caste? Literally, Varna means color and originating from the word Vri, meaning the choice of one's occupation. Hence, Varna is concerned with one's color or occupation. Caste or jati originates from the root word jana, which implies taking birth. Thus, caste is concerned with birth. Varna are only four number Brahmin, Kshatriyas, Vaishya, and Sudra. Caste very large in number. Caste also have many subdivisions known as subcaste. It is an all India phenomenon. Presence of but caste presents so regional variations mostly based on the linguistic differences. One is a mobility pattern. One are relatively flexible, which one's talent and knowledge are compared with the caste. But caste it is based on rigid principles and mobility is less. It is a closed type of stratification. Varna system is free from socio-economic and political disabilities. Caste imposes many restrictions on the members. Varna class correlations in mostly positive. Caste class correlation is not always positive. There are many variations in the placement due to economic, political, educational status of various groups. Functions of the caste system. It continued the traditional social organization of India. It has accommodated multiple communities by ensuring each of them a monopoly of a specific means of livelihood, provides social security and social recognition to individuals. It is the individual's caste that canalizes his choice in marriage, plays the roles of the state club, the orphanage, and the benefits society. Besides, it also provides him with health insurance benefits. It even provides for his funeral. It has handed over the knowledge and skills of the hereditary occupation of a caste from one generation to another, which has helped the preservation of cultural and ensured productivity. Caste plays a crucial role in the process of socialization by teaching individuals the culture and traditions, values, and norms of the society. It has also led to interaction between different castes through judgmental relationship. Caste acted as a trade union and protected its members from the exploitation, promoted political stability as Kshatriyas were generally protected from political competition, conflict, and violence by the caste system, maintained racial purity through endogamy. Specialization led to equality protection of goods and promoted economic development. For example, many handmade items of India gained international recognition due to this. Dysfunction of the caste system. The caste system is a check on economic and intellectual advancement and a great stumbling block in the way of social reforms. because it keeps economic and intellectual opportunity confined to a certain section of the population only. It undermines the efficiency of labor and prevent perfect mobility of labor, capital, and productivity effort. It perpetuates the exploitation of the economically weaker and socially inferior caste, especially the untouchables. It has inflicted untold hardships on women through its insistence on practices like child marriage prohibitions, widow remarriage, and circulation of women. Principal features of caste system in India. It opposes really democracy by giving a political monopoly to Kshatriyas in the past and acting as a vote bank in the present political scenario. There are political parties which solely represent a caste. Bahujan Samaj Party (BSP) was formed by Kanchiram mainly represent SC, ST and OBC. It has stood in the way of national and collective consciousness and proved to be a distinguishing rather than an integrating factor. Caste conflicts are widely prevalent in politics, reservation in jobs, and education, intercaste marriage. Example, demand for jet reservation agitation by particular community. It has given scope for religious conversion. The lower caste people are getting converted into Islam and Christianity due to the tyranny of the upper caste. The caste system by compelling an individual due to the act strict accordance with the caste norms stands in the modernization by opposing change. In the caste system unique to India, the caste system is found in other countries like Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Caste-like systems are also found in countries like Indonesia, China, Korea, Yemen, and certain countries in Africa, Europe as well. But what distinguishes Indian caste system from the rest in the core theme of purity and pollution, which is either peripheral or negligible in the similar system of the world. In Yemen, there were existing hereditary caste, Al-Aqdam, who are kept as perennial manual workers. Burkhomen in Japan, originally members of outcast communities in the Japanese feudal era, includes those whose occupations considered impure or tainted death. The caste system unique to India. However, India is unique in some aspects. India has had a cultural continuity that no other civilization has had. The ancient system, religion, culture of the other civilizations have been mostly gone. In India, history is present and even the external empires mostly co-opted the system rather than changing them. The caste has been merged into modern religion, making it too hard to remove. India has integrated multiple systems more easily. What is known as caste is in Portuguese, English is actually made of three distinct components: Jati, Jana, Varna. Jati is an occupational identification, Jana is an ethnic identification, Varna is a philosophical identification. They have been more tightly merged over the centuries. In the world's most transformative period of the past three centuries, India spent most of its under European colonialism. Thus, India most lost a lot of time changing. Most of the changes to the system come only in 1950 when India becomes a republic. The summarizes theoretically, caste as a cultural phenomenon, example, as a matter of ideology or value system, is found only in India, while when it is viewed as a structural phenomenon, it is found in other societies too. There are four sociological approaches to caste by distinguishing between the two levels of theoretical formulation, cultural and structural, and universalistic and particularistic. These four approaches are cultural universalistic, cultural particularistic, structural universalistic, and structural particularistic. Structural particularistic view of caste as maintained that the caste system is restricted to the Indian society. Structural universalistic category holds that caste in India is a general phenomenon of a closed form of social stratification found across the world. The third position of sociologists like Gurye who treat caste as a cultural universalistic phenomenon maintain that caste-like cultural bases of stratification are found in most traditional societies. Caste in India is a special form of status-based social stratification. This viewpoint was early formulated by Max Weber. The cultural particularistic views in held by Dumont who holds that caste is found by only in India. Caste-based like difference are practiced in other religions like Nepalese Buddhism, Christianity, uh, Islam, Judaism, and Sikhism. But the main differences is caste system in Hinduism is mentioned in its scriptures, while other religions adopted casteism as a part of socialization or religious conversions. In other words, the caste system in Hinduism is a religious institution, while it is social in others. As a general rule, higher castes converts become higher castes in other religions, while lower caste converts acquired lower caste positions. Islam. Some upper caste Hindus converted to Islam and become part of the governing group of sultanates and Mughal Empire, who along with Arabs, Persians and Afghans come to be known as Ashrafs. Below them are the middle caste Muslims called Ajlabs and the lowest status in those of the states. Christianity. In Goa, Hindu converts become Christian Brahmins, while Kshatriya and Vaishya become Christian noblemen called Sardars. Those Vaishya who could not get admitted into Sardar caste become Gaudas, and Sudras become Sudhirs. Dalits who converted to Christianity become Maghars and Chamars. Buddhism. Various forms of caste system are practiced in several Buddhist countries, mainly in Sri Lanka, Tibet, and Japan, where butchers and leather and metal workers are sometimes regarded to being impure. Jainism. There are Jain castes wherein all the members of a particular caste are Jains. At the same time, there have been Jain division of several Hindu castes. Sikhism. Sikh literature mention Varna as Varan and Jati as Jat. Leonard Nesbitt, a professor of religion, states that Warren is described as class system, while Jett has some caste system features in Sikh literature. All gurus of Sikhs married within that cell, and they did not condemn or break with the convention of endogamous marriages. Caste division, the future. The caste system in India is undergoing changes due to progress in education, technology, modernization, and changes in general social outlook. In spite of the general improvement in condition of the lower caste, India has still a long way to go to root out the evils of caste system from the society. I hope this lecture is very useful for you, and I thank Bharat Institute of Law and Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Thank you.